Hello students, today we are going to discuss this chapter quiz on vector. It's an advanced level question, it will have 18 questions. And so before we begin, you do not forget to subscribe and share this channel to your friends. So let's see what we have in this chapter quiz. The first question says that if A1 and A2 are two non-collinear unit vectors, and if their sum a1 plus a2 has a modulus root 3, then what is the value of two another vector given by a1 minus a2 and twice a1 plus a2? Okay, so if you look to the data given in your question, it says that they are unit vectors. So I can clearly write that modulus of a1 and modulus of a2 both are 1, and also their resultant is root 3. So if you remember the formula for the resultant of two vectors, it is mod a1 square plus mod a2 square plus twice mod a1 a2 into cos theta. What is theta? Theta is the angle in between the two vectors, and that is equal to root 3 square is 3. So from there, from this calculation, we can say that cos theta is equal to half or theta equal to 60 degree. Now let us try to find this value, this dot product, which is a1 minus a2 and dot twice a1 plus a2. So if you do that, if I multiply it simple, a1 dot a1 is 1, so it is 2, and a2 dot a2 is another 1, so it is minus 1, and a1 dot 2 a2, a1 dot a2 minus a2 dot 2 a1, so it is equal to plus a1 dot a2 and minus twice a1 dot a2. So that will give you minus of a1 dot a2. So 1 minus a1 dot a2, and what is a1 dot a2? If you calculate here separately what is a1 dot a2, you will see it is mod a1, which is 1, dot mod a2, which is 1, and cos theta, theta is the angle in between them, which is cos theta is half. So this answer is half, and that will be half also. So your correct choice should be option C. Move to the next question. It says two vectors A and B are such that the component of B along A is 0. What is the value of X? Now it is very obvious that if the component of one vector to any direction is 0, then this vector should be perpendicular to that direction, right? So here from this question, it is clear that a vector and b vector, are mutually orthogonal or perpendicular to each other. So if two vectors are orthogonal, how do we check them? We can write that a dot b, their dot product definitely is 0. If I make a dot product a dot b, then you can see 2 into 4 is 8, plus 3 into 8 is 24, minus 4 into x minus 4x is 0. From there we can say x is equal to 8. So option A will be your correct choice. It's a very simple question. Moving to the next question, number 3. It says the x and y component of vector A are 4 meter and 6 meter respectively. Okay, so there is a vector A which has two components x and y. XY component of vector A plus B are 10 meter and 9 meter respectively. Then the length of B and the angle that it makes with x-axis is, right? So let us try to draw this A and B vector first. So this is my xy axis and this is a vector A, this is A plus B vector. So if A vector is this one, its x component is 4 and y component is 6. So the modulus of A is root over of 4 square plus 6 square. 4 square plus x square, and so that is root over of 52. And if the angle with x-axis is theta, then tan theta is equal to 6 by 4, that is 3 by 2. Similarly, for a and b vector, the x component is 10. So if the x component of a plus b vector is 10, then can I say that if there is another vector b somewhere here, suppose this is another vector b, suppose this is a vector b, so if this is a vector b, so what is the x component of a plus b? That is nothing but the addition of x component of b and x component of a. So in your question it is given that x component of a is 4. So can I say 4 plus x component of b, bx, that is equal to x component of a plus b, which is 10. So what is x component of b? It's nothing but 6. And y component, similarly, can I say y component of a plus y component of b is y component of a plus b, which is 9. So from there y component of b is 3. So what is of tan phi? If phi is the angle between b vector and x vector, then tan phi is equal to 3 by 6, means 1 by 2. So tan phi is equal to, so phi is equal to tan inverse half. And what is the magnitude of b vector? Magnitude is root over of 36 plus 9, 45, means 3 root 5. So option B should be your correct choice. So let's see what do we have in next question. It says that a plus b plus c is 0. Out of these three vectors, a, b and c, two are equal in magnitudes. Okay. The magnitude of the third vector is root 2 times that of the equal magnitudes. Okay. The angle between the vectors are. Okay. If their resultant is 0, then the vectors must be collinear. Sorry, coplanar. The vectors must be coplanar. Because if one vector is out of the plane, then the resultant will not be 0. Okay. So if the vectors are coplanar, let us first draw the vectors. Look, why I have drawn the vectors, the angle between two vectors 90 degree, because 90 degree is common in every option. So it is very obvious that if two vectors of equal magnitude, suppose P and P, they are lying at 90 degree to each other, then the resultant will lie along this line, which is root 2 times of P. And it is given that the other magnitude is also of root 2 times of P, then they will cancel each other and the resultant will be 0. So the answer should be the angle between two vectors is 90 degree. The angle between this vector with this is 135 degree, and that is also 135 degree. So option A should be your correct choice. So what do we have in this question? It says 6 forces, each 9.81 Newton acting on a point at coplanar. If the angle between neighboring forces are equal, what is the resultant? Okay, it's pretty simple because the angle between the forces are equal, so that 6 forces must make a regular hexagon. That's all. So that if you have a regular hexagon, you can see that the forces, the angle between the adjacent lines are same and equal. So, and they are coplanar. So each of them represents a vector and it is a closed polygon, so the resultant will be 0. Option A will be your correct choice. So in the next question it says that if A cross B equal to C plus D, then choose the correct alternatives. Okay, B vector is parallel to C plus D, that is a wrong option. Why? Because if A cross B, then B vector should be perpendicular to A cross B, because A cross B is perpendicular to both A vector and B vector. So C plus D vector must be perpendicular to B vector as well as A vector. It is not parallel. A vector is perpendicular to C vector. Okay. A vector is perpendicular to C vector. Now we can understand the situation in this following diagram, where you can see that in this plane A vector B vector lies in this plane. So A cross B lies in a plane perpendicular to both A vector and B vector. So this is A cross B vector which lies in a plane perpendicular to both A vector and B vector. Right. Now it's saying that A vector is perpendicular to C vector. It is not true, because A vector is perpendicular to A cross B vector. A vector cross B vector, that is perpendicular to A vector. So it cannot be perpendicular to C vector or D vector. So that is also a wrong option. Component of C along A is component of D along A. Now what we can say about components? So we can say that components of C along A plus component of D along A is equal to component of C plus D along A. And what is C plus D? It is nothing but A cross B. So the component of A cross B along A is 0. So component of C along A plus component of D along A is 0. So component of C along A is negative of component of D along A. So option D will be your correct choice. Next question, it says the magnitude of scalar product of two vector is 8 and the vector product is 8 root 3. What is the angle between them? Okay, so the magnitude of scalar product, we know that scalar product magnitude is, if two vectors are A and B, it is mod A into mod B into cos theta. So that is equal to 8, and dot product scalar product and the vector product is mod A mod B into sin theta. It is given as 8 root 3. Right. So if I just divide them, what will be the angle in between them? So we can say that tan theta is equal to root 3. Now you can see that it gives that the magnitude is 8 and 8 root 3. Magnitude is 8 and 8 root 3 means that the magnitude, the actual product may be plus minus, actual product may be plus or minus. So the tan theta can be plus minus root 3. So that can be 60 degree, or tan theta, if it is 60 degree, it is root 3, and if it is 180 minus 60 degree, that means 120 degree, then it is also minus root 3. So options B and C both are correct choices. So in this question it says if ABC are mutually perpendicular vectors, then which of the following is correct? Okay, so first let us draw three mutually perpendicular vectors. Here you can see three mutually perpendicular vectors. Let us name them A vector, B vector and C vector. So C cross A cross B. Now A cross B is definitely perpendicular to A vector or B vector. So A cross B will lie along this line. A cross B will lie along this line. So it can direct along C vector or it can direct opposite to the C vector. In both the cases, the angle between them is 0 or 180 degree. So the cross product must be 0. A cross B by mod of A cross B. Any vector divided by its magnitude gives the direction of that vector. So A cross B, the direction of A cross B is either in C cap or in minus C cap. But C vector by C mod C strictly is C cap. So it may or may not happen. So we cannot write it a correct statement. A dot B, B dot C and C dot A, all of them are 0 as the angle in between them is always 90 degree. B plus C is perpendicular to. Now what is B plus? B plus C will lie in this plane somewhere here. And you can see that this plane, this entire plane is perpendicular to A vector. Right? So B plus C is definitely perpendicular to A vector. So A, C, D will be your correct options. Now what do we have in this question number 9? It says mark the incorrect options. I need to mark the incorrect options, right? Incorrect options. So the first option says that if D minus equal to F and F equal to D plus E, so this side F equal to D plus E gives the magnitude and this side is a vector. This side there is no vector sign, you can see. So D minus E is equal to F. So what is the magnitude of D minus E? That is D square plus E square minus twice D E into cos theta. Right? That is the magnitude, that is equal to F square. Now what is F square? You can see it is D square plus E square plus twice D into E. So if I cancel this side E square and D square, then you can see that 2DE will also cancel out. So cos theta will be equal to minus 1. So that gives theta is equal to 180 degree. 180 degree, that means D vector and E vector are opposite in direction. That is a correct option. So it is not incorrect. D plus E equal to F and F equal to root 2D. So D plus E vector. So it is D square plus E square plus twice DE into cos theta, that is equal to F square, which is equal to 2D square, and D equal to E. It says D equal to E. So if D equal to E, so that means 2D square plus 2D square cos theta equal to 2D square, which means cos theta equal to 0. So theta equal to 90 degree, that means they are perpendicular. That is also a correct option. Okay, let's check the third one. If D minus E equal to F and F equal to D plus E, okay, we have just checked it. So it is the incorrect option, right? If D plus E and F, then D and E are in opposite direction, that is also incorrect. So option C and D will be your correct choices. This question says if A vector is 2i plus j plus k and B vector is I plus j plus k, then the unit vector is. So there are four options. It give first option says perpendicular to A vector is this, parallel to A vector is this, third option is perpendicular to B vector is this, and fourth option is perpendicular to A vector is this. So basically here we can go with the options, because for each option we have to check two things, whether they are unit vectors and whether they are matching with the following statements. For example, let us check the first one. It says perpendicular to A is minus j plus k cap by root 2. So whether it's a unit vector or not, what is the magnitude of this one? Root over of 1 square plus root over of 1 square by root 2. So the magnitude is 1. It is an unit vector. It is a unit vector. I need to check whether they are perpendicular to a vector or not. So what I will do, I will make a dot product of a vector and this one. So if you make a dot product of these two, so it is minus 1 plus 1 by root 2, and that is also 0. If the dot product is 0, we can definitely say the vectors are perpendicular. So option A is a correct choice. Parallel to a vector. Now this is pretty simple, because you can see that this vector is nothing but 1 by root 6 of A. A vector. So their directions are same. A vector and this vector has the same directions. But I have to check also whether this is a unit vector or not. Now what is the magnitude of this upper part? It is root 4 plus 1 plus 1 by root 6. That is also 1. So it is also unit vector and parallel. Option B is also correct. Option C, perpendicular to B vector. Definitely it is also the magnitude is 1, so it's an unit vector. Now whether it's perpendicular to B vector or not, I will make a dot product of B vector and this one. Now ijk, so it's minus 1 plus 1 by root 2, that is also 0. Definitely the perpendicular. Have you got it? So B vector is equal to I plus j plus k, I plus j plus k, and say suppose this vector is something c vector. C vector is equal to minus j plus k by root 2. So if I make a dot product, you will see b dot c, that is equal to plus j minus 1 plus k plus 1 by root 2. So that is also 0. If this is 0, it is definitely perpendicular, and this magnitude is 1, it is magnitude is 1. So definitely it is unit vector. A, B, C, all of them are correct. Now it is perpendicular. Option D says perpendicular to a vector is this one. Uh, if you make a dot product of I plus j plus k with 2i plus j plus k, you will find what? 2 plus 1 plus 1. So you will find 4. 4 by root 3. So it is not perpendicular. A, B, C should be your correct choices. Now this question says if P cross R equal to Q cross R, then okay. So P cross R is a cross product. We can say it is mod P mod R into sine theta. Theta is the angle between P and R. And Q cross R is mod Q mod R into sine phi. Phi is the angle between Q and R. RR gets cancelled out. So we can say P sine theta equal to Q sine phi. So it's not necessary that P equal to Q. So it may or may not happen. We will not take it. P and Q need not be equal. As from this equation it is clear they need not to be equal. There are infinite number of possibilities of P for a given Q and R. So if Q and R are given, then theta and phi for a given Q and R, right? So you can see that if Q and R are given, from this diagram you can see that Q and R, the angle between them is phi, P and R, the angle is theta. So if Q is fixed, R is fixed, then phi is also fixed. So what is the value of P? Then it is Q sine phi by sine theta. Now Q and phi are fixed, but there is no fixed value of theta. So theta and P, both of them can vary, and we can find infinite number of solutions of this equation. Option C is a correct option. PQR must be coplanar. Yes, they have to be coplanar because Q cross R is perpendicular to this plane and P cross R is also perpendicular to this plane. So if they are the same vector, then all of them PQR must be perpendicular to this vector. So if three vectors, both of them are perpendicular to a single vector, these three vectors must be coplanar. Option D is a correct choice. Now the question number 12. It says two vectors are drawn from a common point and C is the resultant. Then which option is correct? Okay, so let us first draw them. As you can see, A vector, B vector, they are both are passing through this point O. This is the origin of these two vectors. Their tails lie at O. C is the resultant vector of A and B. So the first option says if C square equal to A square plus B square, then the angle between them is 90 degree. So that is correct option. If this angle is theta and this angle is phi, phi is the angle between A and B. So if C square equal to A square plus B square, then phi should be 90 degree. So the angle between A and B is 90 degree. If C square is less than A square plus B square, the angle between vector is 90 degree. If c square is less than a square plus b square, then the angle between vector is 90 degree. So that will not be a correct option, because if the angle is 90 degree, it is always c square equal to a square plus b square. C square greater than a square plus b square, the angle between the vector is in between 0 to 90 degree. Yes, that is correct option, because if the angle is less than 90 degree, as you can see that this vector, this c vector, the magnitude is greater than mod of a square plus b square, right? So that is a correct option. If c equal to a minus b, if c equal to a minus b, the angle between a b is 180 degree. If c equal to a minus b, so magnitude of c is equal to a minus b. So, and c vector is actually a plus b. So what is the magnitude of c vector? If I go by this definition, it is a square plus b square plus twice ab cos phi, where phi is the angle in between the vectors, that is equal to c square, and that is equal to a minus b whole square. If I go by this definition, a square plus b square minus twice ab. If I calculate this, a square and b square will get cancelled out, 2ab will also get cancelled out. So cos phi equal to minus 1 only gives you the value of phi is 180 degree. Option D will also be a correct option. So A, C, D will be your correct choices. Type question. The first question is, if A dot B is mod of A cross B in A and B vector, the magnitude of them are 2 root 2 and 3 respectively, then determine mod of A cross B. That means also dot product of A and B. Okay, what is dot product of A and B? It is A into B into cos of theta, that is equal to cross product, which is A into B into sin theta. So clearly it says that sin theta equal to cos theta only give you theta is equal to pi by 4 or 45 degree, right? So it says that A and B, their magnitude are 2 root 2 and 3. So what is cross product of A and B? So what is A cross B? The magnitude is equal to mod A, that is 2 root 2, mod B, that is 3, into sin theta is 1 by root 2. So that gives 6, which is your correct answer. So this question talks about 10 vectors, each of magnitude root 3 units. They are arranged as shown in figure. What is the resultant of these vectors? That we need to find. Now here we are going to use the triangle law of vector addition. So let us assume this vector to be A vector and this vector to be B vector. As we know that any vector can be shifted parallelly without changing its magnitude. So as it is A vector, I can always say this to be A vector, this to be A vector, and this to be B vector. In a similar way, this to be A vector, sorry. In a similar way, this will be B vector, this will be A vector, this will be B vector, this will be A vector, and this will be B vector. So basically all these 10 vectors are not different vectors. There are 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 A vectors and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 B vectors are there. So let us assume that I will take one pair of A and B vector. So this to be A vector, this to be B vector. So what is the addition of these two vectors, A vector and B vector? If you add them with triangle law of vector addition, we can say that this side of the triangle taken in opposite order will give the resultant. Suppose it is C vector, which is A plus B. So if this is the resultant C vector, you can see this A plus B will also give you the same C vector. This B plus A will also give you the same C vector. This A plus B will also give you the same C vector. So there are 4 C vector, and this A vector and this B vector remains there. So if I take this A vector and B vector again in the same order, you can place it, because this A vector you can shift it here and this B vector you can shift it there. So there is another C vector. So there is total resultant of this diagram should be 5 times C vector, and the magnitude is 5 mod C. Now what is modular C? Because this magnitude is root 3 units and this angle is 60 degree, means this angle is 30 degree. So this mod C will be twice into root 3 into cos 30 degree, which is root 3 by 2. So that is nothing but 3. So the answer is 5 into 3. 15 units is the magnitude. So if it is 3x, then the value of x must be 5. Okay, so this question says a vector A is rotated in clockwise direction through 60 degree about its tail to obtain another vector B. Now what is the magnitude of A dot B minus A? So let us try to understand that this is a vector A, and what is B vector? We have just rotated the same vector by 60 degree. So this angle is 60 degree clockwise direction, and we have obtained this vector B. You need to understand that this vector B also has the same magnitude as that of A, but its direction is just changed. So what is the resultant of these two vectors? If I say that this is A vector, this is B vector, from triangle law of vector addition, you can say that this vector must be B minus A vector, right? Because A plus B minus A is equal to B vector. And you can see that all these sides are same, because this side and this side are same. This angle is 60 degree. So this is actually an equilateral triangle. If this forms an equilateral triangle, then mod B minus A is also mod A, which is under root of 3 plus 1, that is equal to 2. So that is equal to 2. So if I say what is the angle in between now A vector and B minus A vector, because I have to find their dot product. So this is the A vector and this is the B minus A vector. The angle in between them is 120 degree. So by the definition of dot product, I can say it is mod A mod of B minus A and into cos of theta, the angle in between the vectors. Mod A is 2, mod of B minus A again 2, and the cos theta is minus half. So it is equal to minus 2. If I have to find the magnitude only, I will say the magnitude is equal to 2. So that will be your correct answer. The next question says we need to find the resultant of the forces. Now these forces are arranged arbitrarily. If you try to find the actual component of all the forces along this x and y axis, then it will be difficult, because we do not have the value of 20 degree, 65 degree in our hand, right? So what we will do, we will, because I have to find, look, I have to find the resultant magnitude only, I do not need the direction. So what we can do, we can shift our axis from this x and this y to this is our x prime axis and this is our y prime axis. Now if I, why I have done that, if I have done that, you can see now the angles are pretty known to us, because now this is y prime, this is x prime. So these two are along y axis and x axis. About this force, you can see this is 20 degree, so this is 20 degree. So this force is actually lying 53 degree from this y prime axis, and as this 20 degree, this is 20 degree. So this force is lying at angle 45 degree from this x prime axis. So if I now try to redraw the situation, then you can see that this is my x axis and this is my y axis. And what are the forces? You can see that along this line it is a force 15 Newton. Along this line a force is 20 Newton. Along this line at an angle 53 degree, we have a force of 10 Newton. This angle is 53 degree, and at angle 45 degree there is a force of 12 root 2 Newton, right? So what is the, now I can find the component of all these forces along this x prime and y prime axis. Now it is pretty simple. uh, if I say what is the component of this force along x prime, so it will be 12 Newton, and if I break it in y direction it will be another 12, so I can now cancel it. And what is 10 cos 53 degree along this direction? It is 10 cos 53 degree, means 10 into 3 by 5 cos 53 degree, 10 into 3 by 5 means 6, and this direction it will be 8, right? So you can see that in this direction the net force is 20, this is also 20, so this 20 and this 20 force gets cancelled out, and in this direction the net force is 12 plus 15 minus 6, that means 21. So the net force is 21, that is equal to 7x. So the value of x must be 3. That is the answer of your question. Now let us try to solve this paragraph. There are two forces P and Q, resultant R, and the result part of R in the direction of P is of magnitude Q. On the basis of this data, we need to find the answer of the following questions. So let us assume that two force P and Q, their resultant is R, right? So let us say that this force is, this is one force P, this is another force Q, and their resultant is a vector R. The angle in between them is theta. So if I say that result part of R in the direction of P, result part of R in the direction of P is nothing but result part of P plus Q in the direction of P. Can you get my point? As R vector is P vector plus Q vector, so any component of R vector in any direction is nothing but the sum of component of P vector and Q vector individually along the same direction. So if I say the component of R vector along P direction is component of P along P direction plus component of Q along P direction, but component of P along P is definitely P, and component of Q along P direction is Q cos theta. So that becomes equal to Q by your question. So Q into 1 minus cos theta is equal to P. So 1 minus cos theta is 2 sine square theta by 2, 2 sine square theta by 2, that is equal to P by Q. From there you can say theta is equal to 2 sine inverse P by 2Q and square root of that. So option B should be your correct choice. Next question, connected with the same paragraph, it finds the magnitude of resolved part of R in the direction of Q. Now refer to the same diagram that we have drawn. This is P vector, this is Q vector, and the resultant is R vector that lies along this line, and this is angle theta that we have already calculated. Now what is the result part of R in the direction of Q? As you can see that R result part along Q is result part of P along Q plus result part of Q along Q. So result part of P along Q is now P cos theta, and result part of Q is only Q. So that value I have to find. So this is P into cos theta. Now cos theta is equal to under root of 1 minus sine square theta. But we can also find cos theta from this calculation, right? You can see from here we can say that cos theta is equal to 1 minus P by Q, isn't it? P by Q. So 1 minus P by Q is cos theta, and I can put the value directly here. Cos theta 1 minus P by Q plus Q. So now if I just calculate it, in denominator I will write it Q, and in numerator it is Q minus P multiplied by P and plus Q. So it is PQ minus P square, PQ minus P square plus Q, PQ minus P square plus Q square divided by Q. So that will be the answer. Q square minus P square plus PQ. So Q square minus P square plus PQ is option C is your correct choice. So that's all. The detailed discussion of this paper. If you like it, definitely share this with your friend and don't forget to subscribe my channel. Thank you for watching.